Okay, what we're trying to do here is we are trying to solve for x in both of these, but there's brackets. So normally what you do, when you see this type of setup, what's the first thing you do? Well, you try and expand it. We don't always have to do that though. So if we were to expand this, we have 7 times 5x, we've got 35x. 7 times 1 is plus 7 equals 14. And then we kind of have to go and do what we've done. So 35x equals 7. 35 divided by 7, sorry, x divided by 35, I guess. And it becomes a bit of a mess. So we're not going to do any of this stuff. Okay, we're not going to do any of that. What do we know about this 7 and what's inside these brackets here, this 5x plus 1? What's the operation? That's right, it's multiplication. So we're saying 7 times this equals 14. Now, because we've got this 7 out the front, we can say we're going to do 7 5x plus 1 equals 14. Because we're multiplying by 7, we can divide that by 7. Or divide this side by 7 because we've got to balance our equation. So now 7 divided by 7 is going to be 1. So we've got 5x plus 1 equals 14 divided by 7, which is 2. So now from there we can do a little bit more. Now it's a lot easier to work with, not do a little bit more. So we take this 1, remove it from both sides, so we're left with 5x equals 2 minus 1, which is 1. So from there, now we've got 5x times 5 times x equals 1, so 5 times some number equals 1. Well, that implies that that number has got to be equal to 1 over 5. Moving right along, we take, so we've got this thing, we're saying negative 5 times 1 minus 4x equals 1. Once again, just like the other one, we could expand it and that'll work just fine, but it's unnecessary work. So what we're going to do, first thing, we see that negative 5 is multiplying all this. So we're going to multiply by negative 5. Really important, you multiply by the negative 5, not just 5. So we're going to say negative 5, 1 minus 4x equals 1. We're going to divide this side by negative 5, and we're going to divide this side by negative 5. So over on the left, we are left with 1 minus 4x. 4x equals negative 1 over 5. Now we're going to remove this 1 from both sides, so we're going to subtract 1 from both sides. So if negative 4x equals negative 1 over 5 minus 1. Now, what hopefully you know, if you don't know, that's cool, I'm not here to judge anyone. Because we're dealing with fractions over here, it's much easier to convert this whole number to a fraction. And a fraction out of 5. So negative 4x equals negative 1 over 5 minus, what is 1 out of 5? Well, it's 5 out of 5. So from there we say negative 4x equals negative 6 over 5. And now what we're going to do, because we're saying, because we're multiplying by 4, we're going to divide both sides by 4. So we'll say negative 4x divided by negative 4 equals negative 6 over 5. And we're going to divide all that by negative 4. So just moving my things away. So I can move everything. From there, negative 4 divided by negative 4 gives us 1, so we're just left with x. And now negative 6 over 5 divided by negative 4, we'll end up with negative divided by negative gives us positive, so it's 6 over 20, and that'll simplify to 3 over 10. That's what we end up with. So just to recap what's going on here. If we've got this type of setup where we've got a number and then a bracket and then a number, we just divide by this number first. We don't have to expand, it doesn't complicate things, and we cut ourselves maybe 2 or 3 steps out of what we have to do. Just if you're seeing some number here, outside of a set of brackets, and then a number, just divide both sides buy this thing here, make life a lot easier for yourself.